All right. In this video, I'm going to talk about the migraine. Okay. So, the migraine, obviously, the migraine. First of all, what is migraine? First of all, what is migraine? So, migraine. This is the this is the disease. This is the disease of maladaptive brain. So first point about migraine is this is the disease of maladaptive brain. Okay, so maladaptive brain. So first point about migraine, this is the disease for maladaptive brain. Okay, primarily migraine, it is a brain disorder along with secondary vascular effects. Okay, so migraine, this is a brain disorder. First of all, this is a brain disorder. Okay, brain disorder primarily along with the vascular effects, that means some effects on the blood vessels. Okay, so first point about migraine, this is the disorder of maladaptive brain. Okay, now migraine, it is more common in case of female. Here you can appreciate that in this diagram also. In this pic, a beautiful woman is there. So migraine, this is most common in case of female than male. Okay, so this is one of the point about migraine, that it is most common in female. Okay, so this is most common in female. Now let's talk about the typical diagnostic characteristics, the typical diagnostic criteria for the migraine. Okay, so the typical diagnostic criteria for migraine. So there is a headache in this migraine. There is a generally there is a headache. Okay, so the duration of headache in migraine is 4 to 48 hours, or it may be 72 hours. That means 2 to 3 days. Okay, in case of some severe migraine. Okay, duration of headache is 4 to 48 generally. Okay, and in this headache, what is the quality of this headache? What is the quality of this headache of migraine? Okay, quality of this headache. So you can remember the quality of headache via this mnemonic PUMA, M-A. Okay, so mnemonic of the headache, the characteristics headache for migraine is, you can remember this like in via this mnemonic PUMA. So what is the PUMA? This is the headache of the migraine. Here I am writing the quality of headache. Quality of headache in migraine. This is obviously pulsatile headache. The headache is pulsatile, and the headache, this is unilateral headache. Pulsatile headache, unilateral headache. The headache, this is moderate to severe in intensity. So the intensity of headache, this is moderate to severe. So moderate to severe intensity. And aggravation on movement. That means if you are moving your neck or your head, your headache, it increased. Okay, headache is increased when you are moving your neck or your head, etc. So these are the quality of the headache. The headache, it may be pulsatile in nature, obviously this is unilateral and it is moderate to severe in intensity and aggravation on movement. That means increased when you are moving your head or neck. Okay, so any two or more than two of this criteria, of this character, any two or more than two of this kind of headache, any two of this character, any two or more than two, along with anyone, those are including along with anyone. Under this anyone there is your nausea and vomiting. Nausea and vomiting. The most common typical diagnostic character is the nausea, most common. So either any pulsatile headache, unilateral headache with nausea, that's the diagnosis is your migraine, or maybe moderate to severe intensity aggravation with movement. Okay, so along with nausea, or it may be vomiting. Okay, or not only the nausea, vomiting, there may be, or here you can appreciate, or anyone of photophobia and phonophobia. Photophobia means the fear on light, and phonophobia, fear from the sound. Okay, the patient with migraine, he cannot unable to tolerate the high bright light or high noise, high sound, etc. Okay, so these are the diagnostic character of, or diagnostic criteria of migraine. Okay, the quality migraine, there is obviously a headache. Generally there is a headache, except the acephalgic migraine. Okay, I will tell this thing little later. Okay, so there is pulsatile headache, may be pulsatile or maybe unilateral, or it intensity moderate to severe, or aggravation on movement. Okay, any of two or more than two is along with either nausea or vomiting, or there is photophobia or phonophobia. Okay, so here I am writing the diagnostic character. They are most important for migraine. There is headache along with nausea, headache along with nausea, greater than photophobia, and greater than light headedness. Okay, or greater than scalp tenderness, greater than vomiting. Okay, so these are the features. Now migraine is along with aura or migraine without aura. There is aura. What is aura? I will tell you little later. Migraine, there is migraine with aura or without aura. Okay, there is aura, migraine with aura or without aura. Some neurological problems is aura here. There is mainly in the migraine, there is visual aura is greater than sensory aura. Okay, so visual aura is most common along with the headache rather than sensory aura. So now what is this visual aura and what is the sensory aura? Here we can appreciate this. In the visual aura, what happens? In the visual aura, suddenly the patient, on the visual field of the patient there is flashes of light, sudden flashes of light. Okay, temporary vision loss and obviously visual hallucinations. This is something your visual aura, and not only visual aura is there, there is also sensory aura, but most commonly or predominantly most commonly there is visual aura in migraine. And sensory aura is what? There is a numbness or tingling in the peripheral limb or etc. This is moving at this direction generally. Okay, so this is your sensory aura. So migraine, it is along with aura, or aura with migraine, or there is migraine without aura. So migraine with aura, this is something called migraine with aura. This is something called clinical migraine. Clinical migraine. This is something called clinical migraine. And migraine without aura, this is called your common migraine. Common. This is common migraine. This is common migraine. Okay. So clinical migraine, this is seen migraine with aura. This is generally seen in only 20% cases. Only 20%. This is very low. But common aura, why this is common? Because it is seen in huge population. Generally 80% cases. 80% cases of migraine. This is migraine without aura. Migraine without aura. This is the common migraine and seen in 80% cases, guys. Okay. And migraine with aura, this is also called the clinical migraine, only seen in case of 20% cases. There is another kind of migraine. There is another kind of migraine. Here I am making a box and I am writing this within this box. Okay, guys. So there is another kind of migraine also. This is called your, this migraine is called your acephalgic migraine. Acephalgic migraine. So what is this acephalgic migraine? In this acephalgic migraine, it is most important to note that only aura is there, only aura present, which is generally visual aura, and no headache. No headache is there. There is no headache, but only aura is there. Or there may be a little headache or minimal headache. Okay, minimal headache or no headache, but only aura is there. Only aura. This is something termed as acephalgic migraine. Okay, so migraine with aura, without aura. When migraine is associated with aura, this is something termed as clinical migraine, and when migraine it is without aura, something termed as common migraine, which is 80% cases, generally seen in 80% cases, and migraine without aura, with aura, it is in on 20% cases. And there is acephalgic migraine. What do you mean by this acephalgic migraine? This is something with aura but no headache. Migraine, only aura is there, no headache is there, or minimal headache is there. This is something your acephalgic migraine. Now what is your the visual field defects actually in the migraine? Here you can appreciate what is this, those visual field defects. Here you can appreciate within your visual field there is some flashes, there is some flashes of light. Okay, or visual hallucination is there. Here you can appreciate something visual hallucination is there. Here also some visual hallucinations, visual field, some flashes of light is there. This is something called your visual aura. And now let's classify the migraine. I already classified this into on the basis of the aura. Aura is present or absent on the migraine. Now migraine, depending on its severity, it is divided into mild migraine. Okay, it is divided into, depending on its severity, it is divided into mild migraine, moderate migraine, and severe migraine. Something mild, moderate, and severe. Okay, mild migraine, the attack is less than 1 per month. The attack of the migraine, this is less than 1 per month. In case of moderate migraine, you can appreciate the attack, this is greater than 1 per month. That means the within a month there is more than 1 times attack of migraine. And in case of severe migraine, there is more than 2 to 3 attack per month. Okay, And now the quality of the headache or the nature of the headache in case of migraine. In mild migraine it is throbbing type but tolerable. It is you can tolerate this. But in case of moderate migraine, this is more intense. Intensity is more higher of the headache, intensity of the headache. And in case of severe migraine, this is severe and this is not tolerable. Now duration of mild migraine, generally the duration of headache actually it is up to 8 hours. Patient in your OPD, he is complaining for he is suffering from last 8 hours of the headache. Or in case of moderate migraine, 6 to 24 hours, and in case of severe, 12 to 48. Now incapacitations, that means the patient may go to the patient is able to do his daily life works. Okay, so in case of mild migraine there is no incapacitations. Okay, in case of moderate, functionally impaired, and severe, the patient unable to do any work. Okay, so patient unable to do any work in severe attack. Other features, obviously in moderate migraine, in mild migraine there is nausea or vomiting is there. In case of moderate migraine there is prominent nausea and vomiting, and in case of severe migraine there is vomiting and vertigo. Okay, so this is the classification of the migraine based on or depending on the severity. Based on severity, it may be mild, it may be moderate, it may be severe. Okay, so now there is a theory behind this which is the dopaminergic theory. Behind this, the vomiting of the migraine. I'll tell you this thing later, but before this, just discuss the drug therapy of the migraine. The drug therapy, first of all I'm just giving an overview, and then I'll tell you all the things detail. Okay, so the drug therapy of the migraine. So if it is mild migraine, that means the attack is 1 or less than 1 within month. Okay, attack is 1 in a month, that means mild migraine. Moderate, that means greater than 1 attack of the headache, and 2 to 3 in severe. So in this migraine there is a headache, that means you can use any analgesics, generally non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. Non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, you can use this. Okay, so along with antiemetics, that means which prevents your vomiting. So in case of mild migraine, you can use any simple analgesics, and along with simple analgesics, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory obviously, and or their combinations, and along with this antiemetics, that means which prevents your vomiting. Now in case of moderate, the non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs or analgesics are not very useful. Okay, so if the non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, they are not very useful in moderate migraine, then you should use triptans group of drugs. Okay, with combination of NSAIDs maybe. Okay, or not only triptans, there is also ergot alkaloids, which is something your ergotamines. Okay, so you can use these things also. Actually these triptans or ergotamines, they are what? They are your 5-hydroxytryptamine or serotonin 1D, 1B or 1D receptor agonist. Actually these triptans, they are agonist of this serotonergic receptor. You can use this thing in case of moderate migraine. And in case of severe migraine, that means the more than 2 to 3 attack per month, not only triptans is there also. Obviously when the attack is severe, you can use triptan or ergotamine or antiemetic drugs, but you should go for the prophylaxis of the migraine. That means not just the aborting the pain or abolishing the abolishing the sudden attack of the migraine is now not sufficient there. You have to cure this migraine. Okay, for the prophylaxis you can use beta blockers, you can use antidepressant, and not only that, anti-epileptic drugs also, and you can use calcium channel blockers, And not only that, there are very other new drugs, okay, very new drugs. Those are CG, calcitonin gene related peptide inhibitor, or the antibody against those peptide. Okay, you can use also this for the severe attack of migraine. Now I will tell you each and everything in detail. So now, first of all, you have to know what is the mechanism behind this migraine, what is the theory behind this migraine. Okay, so theory behind this migraine, which is something known as cortical depression theory, cortical spreading depression. Okay, cortical spreading depression theory. So what is this cortical spreading depression theory? First of all, I am telling you the migraine generator. What is the migraine generator? Migraine generator. This is something your hypothalamus, and not only the hypothalamus, also the brainstem. Okay, so you can say collectively hypothalamic brainstem network. Okay, hypothalamic brainstem network. Or in case of functional MRI, in functional MRI, you can see that during the migraine, first during migraine, what happens? During migraine, first what happens? The hypothalamic brainstem axis, hypothalamic brainstem axis, or you can say hypothalamic pontine axis, it activates. So in functional MRI, you can see that just during the onset of migraine, okay, this area, the hypothalamic brainstem axis, or the hypothalamic, you can say same thing, hypothalamic brainstem axis, something which is also called the hypothalamic pontine axis, this is activated. Okay, so this is something which is called migraine generator. That means the migraine is generated at this area. Okay, so now what happens during this migraine? What is the pathophysiology behind this migraine? This is something your very important new concept of neurogenic theory of migraine. I am starting here. Okay, so first of all, what happens? There are various triggers or stimulators, various triggers for migraine. Various triggers are there. Those triggers are maybe insomnia. That means no sleep, lack of sleep. There may be stress in your life or any reason. Let's imagine the stress for NEET PG exam. There may be bright light, flashing of bright light, sudden flashing of bright light. And in case of female, generally during their menstrual days, in case of female, there is menses, or maybe hunger, which is the major problem of India. And there may be the red wine or beer. Okay, so these things, they are actually the trigger for your migraine. Okay, what happens? These triggers are actually sending some sensory input to fifth cranial nerve, which is actually the trigeminal nerve. Okay, so this triggers insomnia, stress, bright light, etc. In case of female, menses. What happens? The sensory input to fifth cranial nerve, trigeminal nerve. And then what happens, this trigeminal nerve, it starts secreting some vasoactive peptides. They start secreting some, so secretion of vasoactive peptides, secretion of some vasoactive peptides. Okay, so here you can appreciate this thing that actually the headache behind this migraine, it is due to something called your trigeminocervical complex, trigeminocervical complex, which is TCC. Okay, so what is this? This is your, here you can appreciate the basic anatomy. Here you can appreciate that this is your trigeminal nucleus is there, something trigeminal nucleus is there. You can appreciate this, the trigeminal nucleus is there. Okay, and the trigeminal ganglion is also there. Okay, collectively this trigeminal nucleus and trigeminal ganglion is called your trigeminocervical complex. Okay, so this trigeminocervical complex is actually releasing what, some vasoactive, they are releasing some vasoactive neuropeptide. They are secreting vasoactive peptides. Those vasoactive neuropeptides are acting on the blood vessels of your brain. Those vasoactive neuropeptides are acting on your blood vessels of brain. So example of some vasoactive neuropeptides are your calcitonin gene related peptide. Okay, what is this? This is calcitonin gene related peptide. Okay, and this is the most important, there is some calcitonin gene related peptide. There is not only some calcitonin, there is also substance P, there is also vasoactive intestinal peptide, there is also nitric oxide. These all are your vasoactive neuropeptide. Okay, these all are your vasoactive neuropeptide. This vasoactive neuropeptide, they causing what, this vasoactive neuropeptide, they causing what, they causing the vasodilation of cranial blood vessels, and obviously if the vasodilation of the cranial blood vessels is there, then what happens, you guys know that if the cranial blood vessel is, any blood vessel is dilated, then the laminar flow of blood is not there. Then normally in normal blood vessels, what is there? There is the laminar flow of blood, and in case of vasodilation there is turbulent flow of blood, and due to this turbulent flow of blood, what happens, there is leakage. Okay, so the leakage from this blood vessel and the extrudes are entering into what, the tissue area. Okay, so now what happens, due to this vasodilation, what happens, due to this vasodilation there is plasma leakage, and this plasma leakage causing meningeal irritation, which is actually nothing but the pressure on durameter causing pain. This is the cause of headache behind theory, the headache. This is actually the cause of headache in migraine. So what happens, once again I am telling, any trigger, that means any trigger, that is your insomnia, there may be stress, there may be bright light, there may be menses in case of menstruating female, and hunger, red wine, beer, etc. They actually causing what? They actually causing any sensory input. They actually activates your trigeminal neuron, and after this activation, they are actually sensory input. Any sensory input to trigeminal neuron causing what? Activation of trigeminocervical complex, and this trigeminocervical complex is secreting what? After the activation, they secretes vasoactive neuropeptides. Example, most important is there is calcitonin gene related peptide and substance P, vasoactive intestinal peptide VIP, okay, and there is nitric oxide, and they causing what? Vasodilation of the cranial blood vessels, causing the vasodilation of the cranial blood vessels, and due to this vasodilation there is plasma leakage, and due to this plasma leakage meningeal irritation, and due to this meningeal irritation, actually this meningeal irritation is some pain sensitive fibers on the dura, those fibers are activated and causing the headache, the pain, okay. So here you can appreciate this, this is the diagram. Here you can appreciate that the enlarged view of the dura, you can appreciate this, the enlarged view of the dura. So this vasodilation, the dilatation of these vessels due to these vasoactive peptides, causing what? The irritation of the dura. Irritation of the dura is pain. So this is the major theory behind the headache of your migraine, okay. So this is the theory of your behind your migraine. So now if you want to abort the pain of the migraine, or if you want to reduce the pain of the migraine, so you can use that the non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. You can use non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs to abolish this or to abort this pain, okay. So non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs are analgesics. You can use the you can abort the migraine pain of the headache of the migraine at this level, or you can use some drugs. Those are preventing this vasodilation. If there is no vasodilation, then there is no plasma leakage, obviously. And if there is no plasma leakage, then what happens? If there is no plasma leakage, then there is no meningeal irritation, no pain, okay. So you can use some drugs. Those are preventing your vasodilation. These drugs are triptan group of drugs, triptan group of drugs, okay. These drugs are preventing your vasodilation. They causing vasoconstriction, okay. And not only triptans, you can use ergotamine group of drugs, okay, or ergot, okay. And not only that, to prevent the pain or of the migraine, you can use what? There is one major cause of the migraine is this vasoactive neuropeptide. If you inhibit this one, then there is obviously no pain for migraine, okay. So now I already told, in case of acute migraine, or mild, in case of mild migraine, you just can use the non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, which is analgesics, and abort the pain, okay. But now in case of moderate migraine, you can use what? Triptan group of drugs, which is the drug of choice, first line drug for migraine. So your triptan is causing what? Actually on the trigeminal neuron as well as on the trigeminal ganglia. Let's imagine this is the post synaptic trigeminal neuron. There is one receptor is there. This receptor is something your 5-hydroxytryptamine 1B or 1D receptor, okay. This receptor is present not only on the trigeminal neuron. This is the trigeminal neuron, presynaptic, obviously, and this receptor is also present on the blood vessels, of cranium, the blood vessels of brain, okay. So this is also the 5-hydroxytryptamine or serotonin receptor on the blood vessels of the brain, mainly the on the arteriovenous shunt, arterial and venous shunt is there within brain. Those receptors are present there. If triptan is used, triptan is there, you are using triptan act on this receptor and also on this receptor. causing what? Triptan causing vasoconstriction. Vasoconstriction. Triptan causing vasoconstriction. No vasodilation is there. Vasodilation is aborted. Now if there is no vasodilation, then causing what? If there is no vasodilation, then obviously there is no plasma leakage. And if there is no plasma leakage, then causing what? No irritation. Okay. And not only that, this triptan is also acting on the trigeminal neuron, and there is also, it activates its receptor on the neuronal level. And if this receptor is stimulated, what happens? The calcitonin gene related peptide, its secretion is reduced. The secretion of calcitonin gene related peptide is reduced or not there. Not only that, also other vasoactive neuropeptides, their concentration is reduced. And if the concentration is reduced, then what happens? There is no vasodilation. Obviously both are causing what? Reduced your vasodilation. Once acting on the neuronal level, and once acting on the blood vessels. Okay. Directly one causing vasoconstriction, and triptan indirectly also causing vasoconstriction via acting on the trigeminal neuron. So this is the main mechanism behind triptan. Triptan as well as ergotamine, both are acting on the same mechanism. Both are acting using same mechanism. Okay. But one important point to note, this triptan or ergotamine, though it has one important constrictional activity, or it can constrict your important blood vessels, not only in the brain as well as in the peripheral organs like your heart also. Okay. So you cannot use this triptan in case of coronary artery disease patient suffering from any coronary artery heart disease, myocardial infarction. Okay. So in this case, contraindicated. Triptan is contraindicated, and not only triptan, ergotamine is also contraindicated. Okay. So you cannot use this triptan, because if you use triptan on those patients, those are suffering from coronary artery disease, then what happens? The artery of the heart is also constricted now. Then there is no further blood supply on the heart. Okay. So for this, there is one selective, most important drug is there, which is called your lasmiditan. This lasmiditan, this is acting or stimulating your 5-HT1F receptor, which is present only on trigeminal neuron and not present on blood vessels. This is lasmiditan. This lasmiditan is present only on the, this lasmiditan is acting on the 5-hydroxytryptamine 1F receptor, and this receptor is only present on the trigeminal neuron, not on the blood vessels. Okay. So now what happens? So if it is not acting on the blood vessels, then there is no direct blood vessel constriction is there. Just it reduces the neuropeptide secretion. And if it reduces the neuropeptide secretion via acting on the trigeminal neuron. So let's imagine this is your 5-HT1F. So this is most important, and this is the most modern drug, lasmiditan. Okay. Now I am classifying little detail on the triptan. Okay. So first of all, let's classify this. So the serotonergic theory on the treatment of the migraine. So this is your 5-hydroxytryptamine receptor agonist. Okay, normally serotonin causing what? Normally serotonin or 5-HT, it's causing vasodilation. Now if you use its receptor, no sorry, normally serotonin causing what? Serotonin causing vasoconstriction. Okay, so serotonin causing vasoconstriction. So and we are stimulating those serotonergic receptors to abolish or to abort the pain of the migraine. Okay, so these drugs are 5-HT receptor agonist. 5-HT receptor agonist drugs. These drugs are maybe selective receptor agonist, and there is 5-HT receptor agonist. Okay, and selective, or obviously another one is non-selective receptor agonist. Non-selective receptor agonist. Within this selective receptor agonist, they may further classified into 5-HT 1B 1D agonist or 5-HT 1F agonist. I already told 5-HT 1B 1D present in blood vessels of the cranium or the brain and trigeminal neuron. Okay, but 5-HT 1F only on trigeminal neuron. Okay, so this 5-HT agonist is your, tell me the name. This 5-HT agonist is your lasmiditan. It is telling that use me in myocardial infarction. MI, here you can appreciate this MI. Okay, so lasmiditan, it has no effect in case of, it is not contraindicated in case of any cardiac arterial disease, or in any case of arterial ischemic disease, or in myocardial infarction. It is not contraindicated because it has no role on the blood vessels. It is not causing blood vessel dilation. Okay, so this is the selective one, which is acting on the 5-HT 1F receptor. And in case of 5-HT 1B or 1D receptor agonists, there is triptan. There is triptan. Okay, and now when I am talking about the non-selective receptor agonist, here most important is your ergotamine. What is this here? Ergotamine. This ergotamine, it's not only acting on the 5-HT 1B 1D receptor. This is not only acting on this receptor. This ergotamine is also acting on various other receptors, like your cholinergic receptors, like your dopaminergic receptors. Okay, this is not specific. Okay, this is not specific because it's acting on various other receptors. Okay, so now let's talk little detail about the drugs of triptans and then ergotamines.